Welcome out, everybody. We are here with Adam Berezowski talking about becoming epic. One of the cool things that Adam brings when he shares his message with you is that your past does not equal your future. And so we were just talking about past traumas and life events and how those can actually fuel you. What does that even mean, Adam? Like, how can past traumas not be anything but negative?
Well, I feel like there's a whole lot of negative in this world, and it's our job and our duties to educate ourselves on how to utilize that to propel us in the future versus keep us in the victim mindset. And I think that just, looking at things a little bit differently, we all have a past, but yet we all want a different future. And it takes one day to turn the page of a new, to rewrite your story. And I feel like that's kind of like every day's opportunity to, start fresh.
Absolutely. And so what is a victim mindset? Like maybe what are some examples of people who get stuck in that?
Well, I'll just kind of use a story of mine to say how I've been a victim. I went through a really, really, really bad divorce in late 2019, early 2020. And then from the divorce right into the pandemic. And I was just like, why is this happening to me? It's like one thing after another. Like, honestly, I thought I was like living in the twilight zone. And, some of the things that I went through my divorce, especially the fact that, so my divorce started in September of last year, and then in 2019, it didn't even get started until July of 2020 because of the courts were shut down. And a lot of the things that were going on, it was just like I was being attacked, and I couldn't believe it. Like some of the things that were going on, like it was like Twilight Zone, like the world shut down. I'm stuck at home. My business is closed down. So like I had no outlet, and it was just such a bad mindset to me. But the one thing that really kind of helped me push through was knowing that I'm fighting for my daughter. I have a 6-year-old daughter, and she's the only thing for me. And it was either I give up and I go into my hole and die, or I fight and learn to grow. And that's basically what I did. Is I looked at all these things that were happening to me, and I have this quote: "It's life happens for you, not to you." And it's like, and if you look at it like that, it's like, oh, why does this happen to me? It happens to me for a reason. I know I can get stronger. I know I can just keep my head up high. As long as I can breathe, I can keep fighting and just fight for what I believe in. And through that, this last 3 years have really been the hardest years in business, in my life, and where it can totally knock people down, make people not want to own their own businesses anymore because, it's like when they're like, oh, you're in fitness, you need to shut your gym down, you're helping people, like, and then on the other side, my personal life, I have my ex-wife attacking me for money, stealing money, for, every allegation under the sun when it comes down to trying to fight for custody. I mean, it was literally insane. And I just wasn't going to uphold it. And like I have a business where I have a lot of people looking up to me, and I couldn't sit there and just be a victim. So I just, I said, this is happening to me. This is happening for me, not to me. And I found a way to fight through it.
And so what was the shift that happened in your mindset as you said, it's no longer going to be about a victim, but it's about to be an opportunity? What kind of opportunities and things did you start seeing when that happened?
Well, I just saw that, with every adversity that I've ever gone through in my life, this was the hardest, right? And as an adult, I needed to, I just needed to really focus on what was going to help me get through this, right? And everything that I've ever done in my past has like kind of, the whole, when you do the same thing over and over again, you expect a different result, right? And I was getting the same result out of the things that I was doing. And I needed to find this shift. So I really started to surrounding myself with different people, people that weren't in the victim mentality. I went to therapy, which was massive for me. Trying to just, I guess, tame the anxiety of everything that was going on in my life, because anxiety is a bitch. And, I think we all have anxiety, and it's just a matter of how it affects us in our life. And therapy was probably one of the biggest things because I needed a support system, right? And like, for as much as, I talk about community is probably one of the most important things because you are who you surround yourself with. And I needed to be around those positive people that were doing something with their life and going somewhere and not giving up, And I found those people. So I think the mindset shift was surrounding myself with people that were in that mindset that I wanted.
Yeah, I once heard it said that if you tell me who your friends are, I can tell you who you are. Amen. Right? So the power of who we have around us is really substantial. What, obviously you've learned that in your life, that being surrounded by the right people is a big deal. There is a double edge to that sword, which sometimes means you have to move on from people and relationships that you've outgrown. How did you navigate that? And, obviously you talked about the positive sides of gaining a community. Any tips for people that are trying to do that too?
Yeah. So I think for me, it's the power of letting go of like past memories, letting go of what a relationship was when it was good at the time for that moment in your life. And it's so funny. So when I was growing up, I had this group of friends. We're like, we're going to like buy a whole block of houses. We're going to live together. We're going to like just have our families, all this stuff. We're going to rage it up. My group of friends is very small now. Like, and I don't think I have a single one of my friends that are from that era. And, over time, being able to like let go of those people, because it is hard, right? Because it's like, I'm a people pleaser. I care what people think about me. For as much as people say I don't care, everybody cares what people think of them, right? And I've had to learn, especially these last few years, is that people come and go in your life. They play that purpose in there. And again, you can play that victim of what did I do to lose them as a friend, or what was their purpose in your life at that moment to propel you into this next chapter.
How do you make sure that you are the kind of person that you would want to be around?
What a great question. I'm working. I'm working on that. It's funny because it's like, I want to practice what I preach, right? But then again, like I'm just as messed up as everybody else is, but all I know is that every day I want to become a little bit better. So I have the 1% rule, right? If you're not 1% tomorrow than you were today, then scratch that and move on to the next day, and always make yourself 1% better every day. Whether if it's reading books, working out, eating healthy, hanging out with friends, feathering relationships that you do truly care about. You always want to grow 1% in any direction in your life. And, because over time, compounding, you grow a lot. And so I'm there. Like I would be my own best friend, and I am my own best friend, but it's taken me a lot of trials and tribulations of failed relationships in the past to know what I want and what I don't want in my both personal and my business life.
Yeah. So even just for you, the fact that you are growth minded and looking to get better every day means you're the kind of person you'd want to be around. So you're probably looking for other people that are constantly looking to improve. It doesn't mean that your friends or you are perfect. It means that you're just around people that have a growth mindset instead of a victim mindset.
Yeah.
And so I think that's super powerful. And I think the idea of compounding gains and just be constantly moving in a growth direction is super important. What are common things that trip people up when they're starting to shift, right? Like when they're starting to break old habits and wanting to get into a more growth mindset than victim mindset? What are some common things that you see hold them back, and what do you advise they do to get over that?
See, that's a touchy subject because especially in fitness, right? If a person's in a relationship and one person's just tired of being with where they're at and they go into fitness, they start feeling good, they start looking good. I've seen marriages come together. I've seen marriages go apart. I've seen the person stay within a marriage that's just not healthy and they continue to thrive. And they're like, I'm not changing, I'm not doing this, but they're not having the supportive partner, right? That's doing that. It is that's probably some of the hardest things in this industry to see, right? Because it's like, I want people to be as happy as they want to be, right? I don't want them, and I'm not a condoner of divorce. I'm a condoner of protecting and saving marriage, but And then also not just in a physical relationship, but also in friendships, right? Because it's like you have these friends that are like, oh, come out Friday night and come drink with me, right? And you don't want to do that because you want to wake up early. You want to go do your routine, do all that stuff. And so, again, I think that comes back to setting, protective boundaries on what your goals are and to what their role is in your life. Right. So I have a group of friends that I tend to go out with every once in a while. They like to party, they like to drink, go out to eat and do all that stuff. And I've set these now habits to where I just deal with them hounding me, right? Of like, oh, why don't you have this drink or do all this stuff? Like, why do you have to get up so early and go for a run? And, and I just deal with it, right? It just doesn't bother me anymore. But then I also eat before I go out so I don't make dumb choices. I have like these regimens of things that I do to prepare myself to go out with these friends because I care about them a lot, and I don't want to lose them as friends, but we're just not on that same wavelength. So I've made adjustments to protect that, right? And I just let them hound me because they enjoy it. And, when they're calling me, I'm never drinking again, and I'm up and I've already ran 30 miles or whatever I run, before the sun comes up. So those are a lot of things that I've done within just like, in these shifts, because like I said, I want to surround myself. I always say like, I love being the dumbest person in the room, right? Like I want to be around people that are bigger and better than I will ever be because I want to become more like them. And when I get to that level, then there's that next level. And that's with everything. That's with fitness. That's with my business. That's with, education. And that's why I've always joined like mastermind groups in business because in my company, like, everybody looks at me like I'm the leader, right? But then I need that leader as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think that's really, really powerful. The idea of, if you're going to be around people who maybe aren't on the same trajectory, but you still enjoy their time, like making sure you have your boundaries and your plan in advance, right? Yeah. And I think that can be the same with whether it's just going out for a night on the town or whether it's just reconnecting with old friends, right? You don't want things to pull you backwards or off of course. And I think that just comes down to having a plan and a goal for your life, right? So as we get towards the end of this episode, I'd love for you to just talk a little bit more on becoming epic, right? What that means to you and just kind of reiterate that for the audience.
Yeah. I mean, I say this a lot is that your journey ends when you die, not when you accomplish your goals, right? It's like we have this one life to live. And I actually heard this thing the other day is that you spend a 30-year life sleeping, right? So if we live up to 75 years, that's 15 years worth of sleeping, right? Then 10 years of that is you're a kid, right? And then growing up, grade school, all that stuff. So you really only have like 20 years of living, right? And it was so powerful to me because it's like, you're right? And like this whole journey of becoming is living the life that you want, the way that you want it at on your time, right? And that's what I really try to encourage a lot of people to do is because time is the most valuable thing on earth, right? And we let jobs, we let school, we let relationships, we let all these things hold us back from allowing us to accomplish our goals because of fear, right? Fear of rejection, fear of failure, fear of like losing the relationship. And becoming epic is being able to overcome those obstacles, and being okay with the outcome, whichever way possible, knowing that you are on track to live the life that you want to live.
Yeah. And I think that comes down to first, you got to be able to define it, right? Define what it is that you want. I love it, Adam. I hope everyone please go out and follow Adam on Instagram, like, subscribe, and share this with somebody in your life who you hope is pursuing their dreams to becoming epic. Thank you for tuning in and checking it out. Adam, any final words signing us off?
Every person is courageous.